Hey trader, Justino here, stopping by to present the TraderHUD. It's my collection of indicators where I worked and improved to meet my needs. I believe it's the need of many people too. Some I adjusted. So let's start here with the timer/spread. The timer/spread tracks along with price. What's the difference with my timer/spread? The main thing is it's updated by timer, not by tick. There are markets that only update by tick, and right when you need it most, when price is most contested. Ticks don't come through when you're left without the timer, because it's frozen. With this difficulty I noticed, I worked on the timer/spread to solve it. Another difference, for other timers, when price moved to the bottom of the screen, the text would hide because it followed the price line from the bottom. Mine has a difference. If price goes to the bottom of the screen, it moves up above the price line, keeping it always visible. The next indicator is the session marker. You can see this golden line. It's generated automatically at every market session open. It's a reminder that a session is ending, because every time a session opens, there's high volatility. Why? Because players are trying to position for the new capital entry, and also relative to the open line. Besides this new session signal, this time indicator creates a history of lines with the open prices of each full hour. Over time, you'll notice these open lines are great resistance and also volatility points. Traders usually seek to position above or below these price lines, securing their position. This creates volatility at each hour's end. Just seeking that positioning below or above the market open line. You'll see how contested the price line is, how much it's a high resistance point. In this case here, when it opened, the battle was interesting for that hour. So it creates this price line you can observe as points of interest. Where the market is working the price and struggling to overcome these positions. This line count is configurable. I usually set it to 24, so it records at least one full day. The other indicator is the 5-minute marker. For scalpers, I usually work with timeframes under 5 minutes. At 5 minutes, traders also try to position because it's a reference. Very important for market algorithms. It's the market position in the last 5 minutes. If you're following the scalp on M1, you often get lost because you don't know where the 5-minute candle is closing. With this marker, you can see on the M1 chart the points where 5-minute candles closed. So I have this history on the M1 chart and an idea of how price is running in 5 minutes without switching timeframes. It's in timeframes under 5 minutes that this marker works. If I go to the 5-minute chart, the marker disappears automatically. It only shows in smaller timeframes. In timeframes under 5 minutes, I have a signal and history, and you'll see they also create resistance points. Next up is the watermark. The watermark has a difference. It can sit at any angle, 360 degrees, configurable. And if you double-click it, you can drag it anywhere on screen. To return to default, it goes back to where it's set in the setup. Besides that, we have this panel with two indicators: day range and dollar flow. Day range calculates, based on the last 30 configurable days, the market's average range. It shows how much of that range was covered relative to the 30-day average. Since the market just opened and is very tight, only 8% covered so far. And of that 8%, I'm positioned roughly at 60 to 70% of the market relative to price. It plots the high and low lines, so you know during the day what the day's high and low were. The next indicator is dollar flow. Same principle, two configurable averages and configurable calculation method. It calculates, for each selected asset, whether it's sold or bought, recording this, so you get an idea without checking market by market. It's a way to gauge if the dollar is weak or strong, helps a lot. Over time you'll notice they usually switch direction around the same hour, more or less the same pattern. I really liked this feature. Let's look inside at its configuration. All these indicators I mentioned can be enabled or disabled. The watermark, you can choose fonts. Several available: size, color. The separator between symbol and timeframe. Timer and spread text. Can remove, add, enable, or disable. Spacing and edge threshold. Distance from screen edge. Session marker, enable or disable. This is the line count to keep. In this case, I leave 24 to mark roughly where price ran in one day. Line color, dotted in this case. Thickness, font size. Enable price on line if you hover over it, it shows the price, okay? This is the price line. You can record each hour's open price and know what it was in history. 5-minute marker, enable or disable. I use the caret symbol
White
as
color
marker size
symbol.
10. Can configure marker above candle high, at screen top, or at candle open. Top percentage if marking fixed position. At top, 5% distance from candle. At the point you chose, above the candle. At the position it'll be marked. History count. I usually leave 20 a trail of 20. 5-minute markers to see how markets running in the last 2 hours. Watermark, enable/disable, separator. Horizontal and vertical offset, font, many fonts. Size, color, angle. Whether it can be dragged or not. Day range, enable/disable. Historical day count, how far it can have moved. One way or the other. It's alert whether you want top and bottom lines visible and their colors. Dollar flow, enable/disable. Average 1 of 8, average 2 of 21. Calculation is exponential by default, but you can configure it. By default uses current time frame, but can configure any time frame. Assets must be registered in the market and match the description exactly to appear without error. Some assets have inverted correlation, so if that's the case, you can enable inversion here. I have a native classic pivot point, not enabled by default because my screen is already very colorful, lots of reference points, but for me, by far, it's one of the best. Strength point indicators. The only difference from others is the option to place a midline between pivot points. Here I have in beta a macro trend average that calculates, by my calculations, a central day position. This average has good support and resistance capacity. Over time you'll see it has good functionality. Price rarely passes through without hesitating. Another beta indicator is the volatility indicator. Did some tests, works well. Only difficulty, configured by percentage sensitivity, so it's tedious to tune. It's here, works, but still refining. Still in beta, let's see if we can consolidate in future versions.